the fourth and final episode of my FPL Wildcard Picks series. This episode, we're talking forwards. Stick with me and I'll take you through 6 options that are definitely worth a shout in your wildcard team. First up is the big man for Fulham, and that is Alexander Mitrovic. I think he comes in at a very reasonable price for what he can give you at 6.8 million. He's absolutely nailed for Fulham, and he's their main penalty taker. Before the World Cup, his stats in the Premier League were absolutely ridiculous. He was averaging 0.81 expected returns per 90, which is broken down as 0.69 expected goals and 0.12 expected assists. And that's just fantastic stats. You know, that's up there with some of the best players in the world, let alone the Premier League. And I think that fixture run is really nice. And another thing that I think Mitrovic has proven with the goals against the likes of Liverpool is that he's pretty fixture-proof as well. He's just so dangerous from crosses and set pieces that he could knock in a goal against anyone. And I think simply the fact that he's got a double game week in 19 makes him a really exciting option. I think he'll be pretty popular for that double game week. In fact, he might even be some people's captains. But yeah, Mitrovic, definitely in with a shout of being in your wildcard team. The only caveat that exists with him is that he's on 4 yellow cards. So if he gets booked in 17 or 18, he's going to get a 1-game ban. Hopefully, that's not a booking in game week 18 for a ban in 19. But knowing how my luck has gone with yellow cards, etc., as Maddison got in one game pre the World Cup, it could well happen to Mitrovic. So just one thing to monitor, but I definitely think the good outweigh the bad with him. He looks a really good option for 6.8 million. Now, I don't think this guy is any real surprise. It's Erling Haaland. The guy was absolutely lighting the world up before the World Cup, and he's only going to get better, in my opinion, because he's having a big, long rest over the winter period. We already know he's the highest scoring player in the game. He's got over 1 expected returns per 90, which is just ridiculous. So that means you can pretty much guarantee that every game he plays, he's going to get an attacking return. I don't think we've had a player in the Premier League that's actually managed that before. Yeah, you can see the breakdown of that there. Those fixtures, I think, are really nice. I think Man City have one of the best fixture runs, in my opinion, purely because they got a double game week in 20. I think if you go without Haaland in 20 and don't captain him, you're a very brave human. So, yeah, I'm sure Haaland will do well in that double game week 20. I guess the only question is he going to play both games? But Pep seems to be pretty good with playing Haaland, and Haaland's only really missed games when he's actually been injured. So yeah, I'd expect him to at least feature in both of those games in 20, which just makes him an outstanding captain option. And to be honest, Leeds away in 17, I think he makes a perfectly decent captain for the first week back. So yeah, Erling Haaland, need I say any more really? Now, I don't know about you, but I think Harry Kane has literally been having one of the best seasons of his career so far. It's just so unfortunate that Erling Haaland is signed for the best attacking team, in my opinion, in the league, and is just banging in the goals left, right and centre. I think he's a great option in your team. I definitely wouldn't pick him instead of Haaland, but I definitely pick him alongside. He's got 0.8 expected returns per 90. He's the second highest scoring forward in FPL, and he's got a double game week in 20. Noting those fixtures are Arsenal and Man City, which might put some people off, but I think it's quite famous that Harry Kane's got a really good record against Arsenal. And I think Tottenham have given Man City a good run in the last couple of seasons, really. You know, the Kane and Son partnership really has run Man City ragged in previous seasons. So I wouldn't let that Man City fixture put me off. I'm not going to say it's an exceptional fixture, but I definitely don't rule Kane out getting some points against Arsenal and Man City. And for that reason, I think he's absolutely an option for your FPL team. Similar to Mitrovic, I believe Harry Kane's also on 4 yellow cards. So it's just one to watch out for, really. If he gets a yellow in 17 or 18, he's unfortunately going to miss a week. So I guess that's a risk you take by picking him, but I think he's a great option. And if you can survive the 2 weeks without a yellow card, I think he'll do you well for points as well. So Harry Kane, absolutely an option for your FPL wildcard team. Now, next up, I think Anthony Martial is a pretty decent option for your FPL team. Now, obviously, he's not been particularly fit this season. That's obviously the main issue with him. I think he's been rested across the World Cup, right? So hopefully he's been able to get the treatment that he needs, build up his fitness back again, and hopefully will stay injury-free for the remainder of the season. Now, of course, Ronaldo has left Man United. Martial's the only centre-forward they've got. So I think he's going to play quite regularly. And to be honest, I think even when Ronaldo was in the squad, he actually preferred playing Martial up front. We saw that across pre-season as well. And to be honest, Man United actually looked quite a lot better when Martial was playing up top. I think that's a pretty decent fixture run for Man United. I don't think he will be particularly highly owned. So I think he could be a nice differential for you. One thing with Martial, and it's the main reason I've put him in here, his expected returns per 90 are off the chain for when he's played in the Premier League. They're 1.13, which is right up there with Erling Haaland, who we looked at previously. So yeah, his stats per 90 are absolutely off the chain. And if he can keep that up when he's actually starting games, he's going to be an amazing option for 6.7 million. So I absolutely think Martial is definitely worth a shout in your FPL team. Next up, I've gone for Eddie Nketiah, purely for the fact that Gabriel Jesus is out for 3 months. And we've noticed, definitely, I think that Arteta thinks Nketiah is a perfectly decent backup. So I absolutely think Nketiah is going to start most of the games for Arsenal, certainly until Jesus is fit. I think Arsenal have got a pretty decent fixture run there as well. They're obviously top of the league, currently the best team in the league. So you'd expect him to get amongst the goals. I don't think he'd be too highly owned. I don't think too many people will be going for him, which gives you a nice option as a differential. Now, comparing him to Martial, of course, the two are similar prices, and you probably bring them in for similar reasons, really. Nketiah's stats per 90 just aren't quite as good. 0.5 expected returns, split as 0.4 goals and 0.1 expected assists. I still don't think that's too bad. I think that might be 0.2 expected assists there. I still don't think that's too bad. But comparatively to Martial, not quite as good. But if you don't fancy Martial and are still looking for another differential, I think Nketiah is definitely worth a shout in your FPL team. And then finally, it feels like a bit of a trick question on a quiz, this one, but I've gone for Greenwood from Leeds. I think at 4.2 million, he is the cheapest striker in the game that gets minutes. For me, he's essential if you don't fancy having a third striker in your team. And actually, looking at his stats, they're not horrendous. He's got 0.39 expected returns per 90. He has actually started a couple of games for Leeds this year. So he's definitely not out of the manager's sort of options for players. So he could even get some minutes for you. And those stats are pretty good. He's scored some Premier League goals this season. But of all the cheapy strikers, I think Greenwood is an absolute standout. He could just sit there, he can be third on your bench and come in when you absolutely need him to. And that allows you to spend money on the rest of your team and probably have a double up of Kane and Haaland up front. I think that's where I'm leaning at the moment, but it's really difficult to think about who I'm going to pick at the moment. And we'll see that in a coming video. I'll upload a video of my actual wildcard draft when I manage to think about what I'm going to do. But yeah, I think Greenwood from Leeds is absolutely an option for your wildcard team. All right then, that concludes the video and indeed my 4-parter FPL wildcard picks series. We've done all the positions. Hopefully that's helped you. Towards the end of this video, if this is the first one you're watching, it will recommend to you the other videos for other positions. I'd be very grateful if you could take a look at those, and I hope that you find them useful. As I did with this video, I hope you found that useful. It might have helped bring some new players into your mind or just reaffirm some thoughts that you already had about picks for your wildcard. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it useful. If you did, like and subscribe to the Golden Goal channel, and I'll be back in the coming weeks with some more wildcard videos. See you later.